What is the most ridiculous thing you have done in a fit of rage? I remember my dad making me so mad once that I put some snooker balls in a football/soccer sock and ran at him, swinging it at his knee, which he had bad arthritis in. Cool motherfucker sidestepped and tripped me, and as the ball swung back, I kneecapped myself on the way down. He leant down, farted on me, and walked out of the room. I miss that guy. You come at the king, you best not miss. I made the mistake of reading this while in class. Apparently, there is nothing funny about what makes up DNA. Farting on you is akin to what Native Americans used to refer to as counting coup on one's enemy. He figuratively took your scalp and hung it on his teepee. Chases with snooker balls. I am wind in his hair. Do you see that I am your friend? Can you see that you will always be my friend? My wife and I were fighting while walking home. She stopped and I kept walking. She yelled, "Don't you walk away from me." So I skipped home. I may have been drunk. I was a teacher's pet in high school and answered all the questions. So the teacher said, "Okay now, I want to see some new hands this time." So being a smartass, I raised my left hand instead. The teacher looked at me and just facepalmed. As a teacher, I must tell you, this made me die laughing. I accidentally bumped my ex GF's kitty litter box when walking out after a fight, and maybe 3 or 4 little kitty litter rocks spilled out. She had the gall to give me shit for this minutes after I found out she was still sexting her ex. So I jerked my head back to her, crazy eyes popping out from anger, and screamed in a pleasant, or possibly insane tone, "OH, I'm sorry about that, hon. I am just such a klutz sometimes, hoo-hoo." As I was laughing maniacally, for some reason I decided to pick up the litter box and walk around the entire house, slowly dumping it out, screaming nonsensical phrases like, "There go my butterfingers, HU. Ha ha ha." After it was just about empty, I had butted a hole in the litter box, squatted down next to her cat, and pet it on the head. I then whispered in its ear, so only the cat could hear me. "My bad kitty. Mommy was being a real cunt, and Daddy went a little crazy and walked out." But not before shaking out the kitty litter still stuck in my hair. When I saw the words "squatted down next to her cat," I was expecting you to poop on the floor. You have disappointed me, sir, but I will still give you an upvote for effort. In my blackout rage, kicking the cat across the room did come to mind. I loved the thing too damn much to hurt it, but I figured after all that crazy shit I had just done, when you grow up, if you still feel raw about it, I'll be waiting. One time, my mom deleted my WoW account, and I went completely blind with rage and tried to shove a TV remote up my ass. I'm imagining her deleting it right in front of you. Then you go crazy looking around the room, decide on the remote, pull down your pants, and just shove it up there, before your mom even has time to leave the room. I once had a girlfriend that had a phobia of stickers. Once she made me really mad over who knows what. I went to Walmart, got 2,000 gold stars. You get a lot of stickers for $3.50, and stuck them all over her stuff. When my girlfriend came back, she broke down and sat in the corner and cried. I felt bad after that. I was yelling back at my mom upstairs and gestured so extremely in a what? Manner that I dislocated my right shoulder. Similar, when I swing my arm up forcefully to give someone the finger and pull the muscle. This was yesterday. My dad is a psychologist, and in the early 90s had one of the large boxy cell phones that he had to keep on him at all times. One day he came downstairs when my friends and I were playing Nintendo and turned off the console and told us to go outside and play. Needless to say, I was upset. Hours of progress gone. Friends disappointed, you get the picture. When my friends went outside, I ran up the stairs ahead of my dad, grabbed his cell phone without him seeing me, powered it off, and hid it in my room. Later that day, my dad starts asking around if anyone has seen his phone, and I don't say a word. He must have assumed he had left it at work and would just grab it the next day. The next week is the same story. Pop's hunting around the house, but having no luck finding it. Pretty soon I forgot about the phone. 2 years later, we are remodeling the house, and I have to pack up my room, and what do I find? The phone. I show it to my dad and tell him what happened, and he gets really serious. He says one of his patients committed suicide because she couldn't reach him on the phone that week. I was crushed. I thought my anger had directly resulted in the death of another person. This is some heavy stuff for a 10-year-old. So for the past decade and a half, I have thought that in my fit of rage, I had prevented my dad from saving this lady. Until last weekend. I came home for a barbecue, and after a few beers, my dad brings up the phone suicide story. He goes on to say that it was a lie. Zing, takes a psychologist's dad to properly fuck up a kid. Your dad kind of deserved a few drops of pee in his Cheerios. I'm just saying, not like a full-on morning leak, but just a few drops. My brother stole my car and left me without transportation to work. When he got back to our place, I was so mad. I took his TV and threw it through my windshield and said, "Try stealing that now." One of the boneheaded sales guys came in talking about being pissed off that the WBC would be protesting a vet's funeral. He was reading the posting they sent out, then got to their website, godadsfags.com. Then he said something like, well, at least they got one thing right. So I said, get out of my office with that ignorant nonsense. So then he continued down his line of the truth because the Bible said so. At this point, I had repeated to him, with increasing anger and loudness, to get the fuck out of my office with that bullshit about 4 times. He continued. Apparently at this point, he's thinking I'm joking with him because our views are so far apart. So he's starting to laugh and smile while continue to spout this nonsense. You shouldn't have to put up with that type of behavior. Have an up, fag. People have been hurting me with comments like that all my life. Thank you for taking a stand and absolutely refusing to abide his bullshit. Your post made my day. When I was little, I got into a fight with my parents, and I resolved to really make them suffer. I collected all of the television remotes in the house, bagged them in separate plastic bags, and buried them all around my backyard. In the end, they apologized. Totally worth it. I love how your mind works. Manually changing the channel equals torture and suffering. Great idea burying stuff, though. I'll have to file that away in my head for later use. Huh. If I had kids and they ever did that, I'd get rid of the TV. No more TV shows for you. Oh, and you can't use my laptop either. One time I was so mad at my dad, I wrote him a note that said, "You're a bird brain," and put it in his nightstand. Later, guiltily, I went back and took it back before he found it. My mom saved a really dramatic note I wrote her as a young teenager about violating my privacy and how I'd never trust her again when my brother's friend came over and I made her promise not to ET them into my locked room while I was sleeping over at friends. And when my brother's friend ended up sleeping over, she let them sleep in my room since it was the only one with a double bed. In my defense, they went through my stuff all the time, and I was a young girl obsessed with keeping my private girl stuff private. She showed it to me recently, and many laws were had. One time, these neighbors of mine were having an outdoor karaoke party on a Wednesday night that was still going at about 3:30 a.m. Really loud and obnoxious shit garbage music, and I had the flu and had to get up at 7 for work the next day. I called the cops. They hung up. Cops knock on my door to arrest me for attempted assault on a police officer cause they were in the courtyard about to stop the party when bottles started hitting their cruiser. I threw bottles at a shitty loud party and almost hit a bunch of cops. Dumbass cops shouldn't have hung up. How hard is it to say, yeah, we have some officers on the way already? For real. I also put an Apple sticker under her pillow. I'm a badass, I tell ya. I would absolutely hate the crumbs in my bed. On a similar note, I used my brother's photo camera using film. It was in the 70s or early 80s and shot a sheet of paper saying, Joe is an asshole. The paper said his real name, which is not Joe, which surprised him just the right way when he got the prints from the shop. Some guy was driving a lot slower than the speed limit, so I went to pass him. Soon as we got side by side, he gunned it. I didn't get ahead of him until I was going 70 to 80 in a 50 miles per hour zone. Once I got in front of him, he started tailing me, flashing his lights and honking his horn. So I slammed my brakes, totaled my car. We all walked away with no injuries, but Jesus Christ, was it a fucking stupid thing to do. Edit, wow. Hell of a response. I just remembered the best part, by the way. I often forget about this part. He passed his driveway to tail me. I can't make this shit up. I'll post pictures of the back of my car momentarily. Edit 2. Curated, here's the pictures. http://imager.com/a/9 outqp like my bumper sticker? He didn't. Edit 3. I'm fully aware of how big of an asshole I looked with all those bumper stickers. I was a kid. I thought they were funny. I wasn't trying to be a punk. I was trying to be funny. I was an idiot. I'm sorry. Tongue sticking out. That is awesome. Did he have to pay for the damages? Because it is never the person in front's fault. We ended up telling the cops that I passed him, then a deer jumped out, and I braked to not hit him, and there was no way to avoid the accident. He assigned no fault, and no one got a ticket. His parents later offered to pay for the damages since he instigated, but my parents declined since we were both so retarded. Well, there was that time that kid was throwing rocks at cars on the freeway. The crossbow was just sitting there in the back seat. And now, I will publicly state that this joke, made in poor taste, should not be construed to indicate a confession of any sort. Seriously, folks, I'm in Detroit right now. We don't use fucking crossbows here, man. Well, I was in 3rd grade. My mom made me mad right when I got home from school. So, I threw my backpack down to the bottom of the half flight of stairs. Well, I started sobbing hysterically when I remembered that my Mother's Day present for her was in there. I had made a snow globe in class with a clay statue of myself inside. I ran down to look at it and saw that it was badly broken. My mom spent hours upon hours putting it all back together while I slept that night. I'm now a freshman in college, and she still has that snow globe. To me, that is the best display of love I have ever experienced. My girlfriend and I were having an argument inside of a tent. I walked out and tried to slam the flap. Are you sure this happened? Or are you just stealing a Mitch Hedberg joke? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Only because I saw my niece try to slam a swinging door in her brother's face last week and almost knock herself out. I know, she totally stole that bit from Looney Tunes. Oh really, Mitch? Did you just zipper it up really quick? I don't have a girlfriend. I just know a girl who would get really mad if she heard me say that. Threw my own phone at the wall. When I was mad at my husband, I was talking to him on the phone at the time, not throwing it at him. Yeah, that showed him. Not me, my wife. The shower head fell off and hit her on the head one morning. This was no small shower head, but one of those monster ones. Let's just say I heard her losing her mind while I was semi-awake. Wandered into the bathroom to see her naked and tearing the shower head off the wall, hose, pipe and all. Another one of hers was when she came home from a bad day of work. Made her supper and put it on her plate. She takes it and walks across the room, not paying attention, and she drops the plate by accident. She gets frustrated while trying to clean it up and turns the broom around handle down and proceeds to beat the plate into pieces, breaking metal broom handle in the process. I simply turned around and slowly walked away. I don't get mad a lot. I tend to keep a pretty good temper, but there's one instance I can think of off the top of my head. I was in high school and having a really bad day, and a few kids, much bigger than me, were jumping and running through the halls, obnoxiously disregarding everyone around them. One of them either jumped into me or was pushed into me by his friend. I don't know, I didn't see it exactly, but his elbow came down on my head so hard my vision went blurry for a second and nearly knocked me over. Now, like I said, I'm extremely hard to piss off. So even if he had turned around and said, "Oh shit, I'm sorry," or maybe even if he had just kept going disregarding me, I might have been okay. But I turned around to see who had hit me, and here are the 2 kids laughing at the fact I was just hit by one of them. I saw red as they turned around and kept going, still laughing. I walked quickly to catch up behind them and threw a swift, hard kick directly into the ass of the one that had hit me. Keep in mind these 2 kids were much bigger than me. He turned around, looking quite angry, and quickly approached in that ridiculously obnoxious way wannabe gangster types do. You know, with that stupid look on their face, arms back, etc. It didn't matter though. I was still hot in the face, seeing red, not thinking straight. I dropped my backpack to the floor and put my fists up and gave him the quick come at me signal with my fingers. He kept yelling threats about what he was going to do to me, and I even acknowledged it. "I'm gonna kick your ASS white boy, nod. You crazy. I'ma fuck you up, not again." More gestures to come at me. It went like this for a brief time before a girl who was with him pulled him back. He wasn't going to hit me though. I was a very angry, ready to go, long-haired, admittedly insane-looking kid at the time. A lot of people told me I was the shoot-up-the-school-looking type. In any case, I consider this the most ridiculous, because if he had been brave enough to come at me, I probably would have lost. He was much bigger than me. You would have won, brah. I feels it. Your cool and collected fury is inspiring. I have seen too many people look like idiots by throwing around swear words and lame insults. Goading him by waving your finger at that prick is by far the best thing I will read today. I wrecked my house once. DVDs and books flying across the room, like the opening library scene from Ghostbusters, sans the scared librarian. Recently, I came home to a destroyed mattress due to my 2 boxers getting loose. I grabbed the one with the guilty look on his face by his head and farted on his nose. He followed me around the rest of the day. The order was restored that day. When I was a kid, my brother and I got into a fight over the good knife at dinner time. I ended up throwing it at his head. Luckily, the handle landed first. I'm glad to hear mine wasn't the only family that had good things. We had a bad spoon, which was the one we used to scoop out the cat food with. My mom put the ice scraper in the middle of the stairs, and I bolted down them without looking, of course, and proceed to create an anatomy model of the inside of my foot. My sister couldn't stop laughing, so in my fit of ridiculous pain and anger, I proceeded to pull a piece of muscle from my flappy-footed self and throw it into my sister's gaping mouth. TLDR, I made my sister eat my foot. How does one get so mad that they decide to shave their own head? My boyfriend's father is a cop who works the graveyard shift. He's a bigger, not fat, dude in his early 40s, but due to the stress of his job, already has a lot of gray along with some, and I only mean some, not enough to shave one's head at all, balding in the front. One morning his wife woke up to him being completely bald. She asked him why he shaved his head. His response was simply this: I hate people. I was 16 and newly liberated with my first car. I pick up the boys and head out to this massive arcade in Hollywood, Florida. It was 1989 and arcades ruled the day. He then comes up to me and pushes his nose up to me and threatens, "What now, bitch?" Well, I lost it. This dumbass was chest to chest with me, holding his shirt up, flashing his gun on his waist, and pressing his nose against me. I reach down, grab his gun, and hold it to his ear. I'm this complete nerd, losing his sanity, holding a gun and drooling as I yell, "All you motherfuckers are gonna let Ryu get his Hadouken on." My buddies tap me on the shoulder and tell me we need to go, but not before I get my 50 cents back. So the gangbanger reaches out, gives me $1 and starts bawling. We run out, drive out west, and dump the gun in the Everglades far away. It was craziest, stupidest thing I've ever done. The room still has the hole in the wall where it was, and my parents have never asked me why it is there. I picked up my pocket watch. What time period are you from? I made the mistake of buying a desk with a glass top. Got angry one day and slammed my fist down onto the desktop, which shattered. I ended up with several cuts across my hand. And I still have no desktop. Uneasy face. I once poured a full can of MT dew on my keyboard after I lost a match in StarCraft. During the process, I was thinking, this is the most retarded thing to do. Surprisingly, the keyboard still works fine. Per tip, don't have readily available liquids next to you on losing streaks. I dropped a 17-inch LCD monitor out an 8th-story window at 3 a.m. I was drunk. I was just annoyed and thought it would be funny. So I calmly dropped it out the window. The popping sound it made when it hit the pavement was very satisfying. My father-in-law had something similar happen with his TV, but he threw it in the yard and shot it with a .45. Backwoods, Alaska. I was so mad that I was sucking so badly in Call of Duty. I went to slam my controller down on a cabinet and changed my mind at the last second. I gently placed it on the cabinet, and the back cracked and the battery fell apart. One time when the newest COD came out, I was playing it with a friend quite late. I was getting so mad, I eventually lost it and bit the head off my microphone and then proceeded to tear the controller apart with my bare hands. He called me up afterwards laughing his head off and asked me if I was crying. This was the one that convinced me. You have anger issues, man. I once drunkenly threw my phone completely through my dresser. The phone was fine. The dresser from IKEA had a phone-sized entry wound and an enormous exit wound. I really don't remember what my mom did or said to piss me off so bad, but it was Christmas Eve and I was probably 6 or 7. I was raging so hard that I picked up my biggest gift under the tree and slammed it on the ground as hard as I could. My mom looked at me in horror and I got the biggest spanking ever. The next day I opened it, and it was the boom box I wanted. I felt so shitty about that tantrum. Yes, it still worked. My sober friend noticed this guy getting increasingly annoyed and stepped to the side of us and said, "Guys, there's only one way to settle this. Dance off." Apparently, I busted out my old school Beat Street battle dance, moves up in his grill. He walked away. I probably got a kebab. I also didn't read the fit of rage part of OP's post until I'd already written my story.